I'd like to welcome Saugata Gupta, Managing Director and CEO at Marico. While we're waiting for Keki Mistry, review the results with Saugata Gupta for Marico in the fourth quarter. Break down the volume growth, Mr. Gupta. Any brands that were above average, any that were below?
On the Indian business, we delivered a 8.3% volume growth. Parachute Rigids, which is our lead pack, grew 6%. Saffola, after a couple of quarters of low growth, we are now back into double-digit growth, second consecutive quarter of double-digit growth. Value-added hair oils again continue to do well with 11% plus growth and market share gain. We gained around 1.8% volume MAT basis. And after a long time, the youth business, which was struggling a bit, delivered a 19% growth. And in international business, we also delivered a double-digit growth. I think that was after, again, some few quarters, we got our business stabilized. So overall, I think it's been a decent performance and for 10.5% growth across the business.
What was the beneficial impact of the raw material price correction?
I think around 600 plus basis points. Which, some of them we transferred back into pricing. Some of them we got into advertising A&P. The A&P this quarter grew 34%. And some we retained as EBITDA margin. We believe that as far as the raw material is concerned, it is going to bottom out. And in fact, it has bottomed out. And maybe sometime going next year or this year, as in the second half, we can expect some input cost to actually increase a bit.
You know, you referred to the product price adjustments you've made. Can you just detail the quantum?
So we took around, if you look at our, we have had around 4% deflation in terms of, especially the India business, India and Bangladesh, where you have taken price drops. So the deflation is around 4 to 5%. We have taken further price cuts in India and Parachute in 6%. So there will be significant deflation in the first half in India, which will start correct itself out in the second half.
And what about urban and rural sales growth? Is there parity there?
Rural consumption is a bit stressed, and I think it is also because of the fact that in certain states there has been 2 consecutive years of drought. So we grew only 3% in value terms in rural and around 6.5% in volume, which is not bad, but it's still lower than what we have been tracking in the last 2 years. I think we have to wait for the monsoon, I think. And if the monsoon is good, we believe that the rural consumption should start looking better sometime in September, October.
That's the rural picture. But what about the pan-India consumer sentiment?
Urban is a little better. We are seeing some impact in modern trade. And however, I believe that once the monsoon is good, you have low food inflation, better we maintain this kind of a GDP growth every quarter, and the fact that there will be some 7th pay commission payout. I think the urban consumption is also expected to become better in the second half. So I think we have to wait and watch till the second half. And I think monsoon is a very, very critical factor.
So you're saying come September, remarkable improvement?
I don't think it's a remarkable improvement. I think it's going to be a steady improvement. I don't think there'll be a sudden turnaround. At the same time, if you really look at the sector, it's not that we have, the sector has performed that badly. In the sense, we still are delivering, 6 to 8% volume growth. There will be, what we see is there should be improvement. I think the stress is more in rural than urban as of now.
If we had to look forward, which products, according to you, are going to, deliver the next leg of growth? I mean, which products, which brands?
I think, as I said, there are enough headroom for growth on our existing portfolio. We believe we're investing significantly behind hair fall and foods, and also the youth business, which has not performed well, and I think we should be getting it right. So there's enough opportunity there, as well as an international business, subject to no black swan in terms of any geopolitical events. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to deliver double-digit constant currency growth in international business this year.
Okay, but just in terms of pure volume growth, what you were targeting, can you give a number?
I think 8 to 10%.
And, I just wanted to get a sense of whether your distribution has also increased and whether you plan to ramp it up because of the growing contribution from rural. Just shed some light on that.
So we have been investing behind rural. Our rural contribution has increased from 25% to 34%. At the same time, I think there is enough opportunity in the urban. We started the urban exercise also 1 year ago. A certain set of outlets which fits into a new portfolio, which is essentially chemist and cosmetic, where we didn't have a good distribution. So we started in the first 6 towns. We have added a certain number of outlets. We want to do this exercise in the next 13 towns, which we are going to start this quarter. So I think there is enough opportunity in both urban and rural part over the next 2-3 years in line with our new portfolio.
Okay, I'm going to finally get your thoughts on the margin, because you've acknowledged that raw material prices are going to pick up, and you've also acknowledged that it could be a couple of months before consumer sentiment picks up in a sort of substantial way. What then is your margin outlook for the quarters ahead?
See, I think as an organization, our philosophy is to maximize volume growth and market share subject to a threshold level of margin. So we are okay if the margins are within the level of in the margin in the sense range of 17 to 18%, but our endeavor will be to maximize volume growth and market share.
Finally, one question for you, sir, personally. What is going to be your biggest challenge in the months ahead as you navigate Marico?
I think 2 things. One is we need to ensure that we continue to expand in terms of our distribution, our consumer franchise, and our volume growth. The first 2 quarters could be challenging in terms of deflationary pressure, but I guess which we could lead to low value growth. But at the same time, I think we need to capitalize on the fact that there could be, I think, a consumption increase which will happen, and therefore I think we are closely tracking the monsoon. Monsoon is going to be a critical factor this year.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Saugata Gupta, Managing Director and CEO at Marico Limited, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon on NDTV Profit. And indeed, the monsoon going to be a critical factor for future performance, not just at Marico, but for companies across the board, FMCG included. After the break, Keki Mistry, Vice Chairman